Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little
Welcome to the Please Remain Calm podcast. I'm Ben Gonzalez.
And I am Daniel Gonzalez. Listen, folks, before we get started, all of the opinions that we express here on the Please Remain Calm podcast are our own. They do not reflect the opinions of the Los Angeles City Fire Department or the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services. Also, guys, little housekeeping before we get started. Thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. I cannot tell you how gratifying it is, man, to we make this thing, we just like put it out in the world, and who knows if anyone listens or anything. We talk about it and tell people about it all the time. But every week to open up, the YouTube studio and look at our other account that tracks, how many downloads and stuff, to see the amount of growth that we get with every episode. I can't even begin to tell you how awesome that is to see every week.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially because it's just us doing it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not on a network. There's no other push. There's,
exactly.
We have one sponsor, and we just come up with this stuff, produce it, find the people. And whenever we tell people about it, I always like people can't grasp it at first.
It blows their mind.
And then it blows their mind. Then you show them a clip, and they're like, "Whoa, this is what your show is? This is what you do?" And then they always ask, like, "How do you get people?"
Exactly. Well, that's what we always ask each other. How do we do that? But
yeah.
But just the fact that it's growing is it blows me away, man. And then we get messages from guys and gals all the time, thanking us for putting the information out there and stuff like that. So thank you all so much for listening, for telling your friends about it. Continue to talk about the podcast if you're enjoying it. Spread the word on the podcast. Like I said, every subscription, every subscriber, every download, all that stuff helps us grow, helps giving us motivation to keep doing it every week.
For sure.
Because it is, it is work to produce, and it does cost money to produce and all that stuff. So thank you all so much. Please, 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 if you haven't already, if you're listening right now, that means you picked up the phone, you press the play button, pick up your phone again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for the episode. Leave a comment if you like the episode. Even if you don't like it, like YouTube, people leave some crazy ass comments.
Oh, yeah. Interact. That's all we're saying.
There was one guy complaining that it took 6 minutes to get to the... sorry, dude, if you're listening, I'm going to hurry up with this because I know you don't like to wait.
Yeah, we're almost 2 minutes in.
Yeah,
we
we're
haven't
almost 2 minutes
gotten to
in.
any story yet.
But all that stuff helps us. All the interaction and stuff like that, with all the analytics and the computers that run our lives now, they like seeing that interaction. So if you guys can do that on your phones right now, that'd be awesome. Really appreciate it. It helps the podcast grow and help us get some better placements on all the podcasts.
It's so funny, though, because then you listen to other podcasts, and it's like the first 10 minutes is just intro stuff. Like, they haven't even started anything about the episode.
Oh,
yet.
yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I thought about that, too. Like, do we need to mess with our intro a little? Like, do we do like a cold open about what the story is going to be, and then go, "This is Please Remain Calm."
Yeah. Dude, I thought of that, too.
Right?
That we might actually still do that one day, but...
Yeah, we got to start putzing around.
Aside from that, let me talk about Power Solar real quick.
That's right.
Our sponsor, Power Solar, POWUR. They're a great solar company, guys. Our friend Isela Bonata was a fan of the show, like I've said in the past, and my wife and I were looking at getting solar, so we called her up, set the whole thing up, and they actually came and installed the solar yesterday at my house.
That's cool, man.
Dude, it took, I shit you not, maybe 2.5 hours to put the entire solar system on my house. That's 20 panels with all the inverters, the new box and everything. It was fast. They were in the backyard. They didn't bother us in the house at all. Got to meet Isela finally, because we've just...
She brings a dog.
Yeah, she brought the dog, she's great. The guys that came to install were great. They were clean. They didn't leave a mess. All in all, just beginning to end, an amazing experience with Power Solar. I wanted to just give you guys her information so that you can call her if you guys are interested in getting solar. I promise you, I'm only speaking from my personal experience with them. They do an amazing job. It's been seamless the entire time, and I highly recommend that you get your solar from Power Solar. You can contact Isela. It's Isela Bonata, Isela Bonata, 310-435-0231. You can go to her website at www.solarenergyqueen.com, or you can email her at solarqueen.isela, that's ISELA, @gmail.com. Power Solar.
Power solar, POWR. It's fun to say the whole solar system, huh?
Yeah, it
I
is,
put a
yeah.
solar system
Yeah, I got a
in
whole
my house.
right on top of my house.
Yeah,
Man.
you know, they put a solar system in 2 hours. 2 hours to put a solar system.
All right.
A lot of fun. We both have the T-shirts now. We'll wear them eventually. I almost wore the PRC shirt.
Oh, I don't have it.
Today.
You didn't give it to me yet.
I didn't give it to
No,
you.
no.
Yeah, you know what it is?
Dominic forgot. Said
Yeah,
you
and then mom washed it because it was at the house for you to pick up. So she thought it was like, yeah, it's a whole thing. Okay, so sorry about they sell it. Yeah, I almost wore the PRC shirt today, like a throwback because I know what to wear.
Yeah.
But then like what happens is, then I forget that I'm wearing that shirt, and I go to the store and I'm doing stuff, and it just feels weird, like wearing your own merch. Out at stuff. Yeah, I'm at the 99-cent store and I got a shirt with my face on it. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
you're pretty
bro.
white in that pic. We're both pretty white in that pic, though.
Yeah,
so.
it is completely black and white. Maybe we upgrade those.
Yeah. Oh, it
Update
is
the
time.
shirts.
Yeah, I think we're out of shirts, anyways.
We are.
Yeah, it's time to re up. I got to do the Dodger. The Dodger
All right.
ones too.
This was a merch alert.
Okay, let's get on with this episode, man.
Yeah, this is episode 59.
Episode 59. We were talking about before. I'm wearing the shirt I wore on our first ever episode.
Countdown to episode 69.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty nostalgic.
10 episodes away. We got to
figure out what we're gonna wear for that.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll just come in butt naked, dude.
Who knows,
just do an episode
like
butt
a
naked.
roast battle, right? And then episode 420. All right. Episode 59, we decided to make it a real story corner. There are always, inspirational Danny stories. But when people find out that you're a paramedic, they don't really want inspirational stories from you.
No,
they
they
want
don't.
some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
All right. They want to hear something crazy. They want to hear something like that's going to blow their mind.
The famous question.
Oh, yeah.
What's the craziest shit you ever seen, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I wrote a poem about it a couple years back. It's on my Instagram if you're interested in seeing it. That question to a paramedic that's been around for a little bit of time, it's not a question we like to answer or dwell on, Oh, yeah. That poem that I wrote is entitled Black Hole. And the reason for that is, I've been a medic for 20 years almost. We're getting close to 18 years that I've been on the fire department. 19 years. 19 years a medic, 18 years as on the LAFD. You see a lot of fucked up shit in 18 years working for one of the busiest fire departments in the country in some of the busiest, most underserved areas of Los Angeles.
Yes.
I've often compared in conversations that I've had with other guys that I've worked with at these stations, because I spent time at Nines, which is on Skid Row. I've also spent plenty of time in Battalion 13, Fire Station 57, which is like South Central LA.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that aren't from LA and don't know, it's about as busy and as crazy as it gets. For any fire department across the country.
It really is, for a few reasons.
Yeah. Call volume, the type of shit you see, the gang activity, the structure fires, you name it.
Lack of access to regular health care.
All that stuff, dude. Those underserved, it's funny you bring that up, man, because those underserved communities, it's almost like that 911 system is their health care.
Yes.
They'll have some stuff that's been bugging them for months, you know what I mean? That's really something that should be taken care of at a clinic or by your own personal doctor. But they don't have access to that. I mean, they have access, but they don't have the ability to have insurance to go for it. They don't have money to pay cash at the clinic or something like that. So they call us,
Right.
All that being said, I would compare the shit that I've seen over 18 years on the job to a soldier in battle. I mean, as far as like having it affect my psyche with PTSD, my PTSD diagnosis, not constant so much because I've learned how to deal with it and get past it, but shit just pops in your head. Like I'll just be chilling with my family at dinner or something like that and start thinking about this kid back in 2009 that died in the back of the ambulance with me, mom screaming in the front. You know what I mean? That type of shit. I would compare it to a soldier at war, coming back from war, from the things that he's seen. Now, obviously, they're not the same. Please don't. I'm not trying to diminish a soldier's experience in war, but as far as like what you're seeing, blood and guts, people being bad to each other, all that shit. I over an 18-year career, I would compare it to the volume that would be seen in war. So
again, though, that's because of where you worked specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Average firefighter, 18-year career, you might only have like a few cases like that
Sure.
stick with you. But you worked in particular areas where there was just a high volume of those kind of cases.
High volume of calls, and Skid Row in particular was just the craziest shit. Every day, damn near every call was just like, what the fuck?
Right.
All right, man, let's go to the hospital. You know what I mean?
And we've done full episodes describing Skid Row as a first in district and what it's like. If it's the Boyd Street episode
And
has a long segment about that.
And I don't even think you can do it justice, man. Like, you really don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Unless you've been there and you do it, dude. I'll be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
So that's what this whole episode's about. I don't like being asked that question. What's the craziest shit you ever seen? What's the craziest call you ever been on? That type of shit, right? And it's the question everybody, when they find out you're a paramedic, asks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this episode is. It's going to be, what's the craziest shit you ever seen episode, okay? So buckle your fucking seatbelts, people, because I'm going to talk about this once, and I'm not going to talk about it again.
Yeah, refer to this episode from here on out.
To start us off, what got me thinking about this was I worked a day down at Fire Station 66 a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 66 is in Battalion 13 in LA City, and it is right in the heart of South Central.
Mm-hmm.
They are one of those stations that's filled with young guys with a couple veterans in there that love being there, love being firefighters, right? Young AOs and engineers that are go-getters, and typically young captains that have been those types of go-getting firefighters that want to still have action and get some fires and teach the younger generation of guys that are there.
Right.
So when you work at a place like that, there's a high energy in a fire station like that. You can feel the youth in there. You can feel the enthusiasm for the job. You know, the stories they're telling each other are the same stories I used to tell when my kids were young.
It reminds you when you were a young buck.
It 1000% takes me back. I can feel the energy that I felt when I was a young firefighter working at Nines, right?
Yeah.
With a bunch of other young guys that fucking loved it.
Right.
And we were up all night. We knew we were going to be up all night every night. We're playing handball at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, that type of shit, you know, just because we knew we were going to be up, man. So I enjoy going back and working at places like that are busy. You know, if I'm looking for an overtime day, which I don't work that much overtime anymore. If I'm looking for an overtime day, I'll look at my battalion, right? Because my battalion's a little bit, you know, still fairly busy, but it's older guys. It takes a little bit of time to get one of those spots near the beach. But if there's no overtime available there, I'll go and look. You know, they print out a list of vacancies across the city, and I'll pick out a station to work at. I typically pick out something in Battalion 13 because we live in Inglewood, and the stations are, you know, 5 minutes from the house or something like that. And when we're transporting to Sentinel Hospital or something like that, I can swing by the house real quick, say hi to the boys, give them a little kiss, and say what's up. Plus, I've worked there before. I know the districts. I know how it works.
Yeah.
There's always vacancies there because it's super difficult to get someone to come and work for you.
Right.
If you want the day off, that type of shit. And guys are appreciative when you go to work at a place like that and you volunteer to come in and work. They don't have to detail someone or hire someone. The captains are appreciative that you showed up, and the guys that work there are usually, you know, usually fucking cool as fuck.
And it makes a difference that you have a lot of experience there. You know the cuts, especially if it's new guys that you're working with that have just transferred in there or something. You're also kind of like a veteran to that station.
Exactly.
Helping them out, showing them, you know, how to pull up.
And it's funny you bring that up, man, because when I go, like, okay, when I first got hired, or even like my first 5 years on the job, right? You get a saw day at 64, 66 is one of those stations that's like a 33s or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
hardcore station, yeah.
Raw, hardcore guys there, right? You get nervous. Like at least for me, being a young fireman, you know you don't know everything, you know?
I remember riding out those places feeling nervous.
Yeah, there's a certain air of nervousness that you get going to a place like that, right? And you walk in and the guys have been there for, you've got 5 years on the job. All these guys have been there for 5 years, you know, or 6 years together, you know, and you got a couple bulls that have 10 years on the job. They're taking the captain's test and they're hardcore. And there was this whole like anti-paramedic sentiment too when I first got hired that was still kind of floating around a little bit. So you would get like, I would get like almost butterflies in my stomach getting to the station. Then you get settled in, and, they do a little work on the rigs or something. You jump in and help out, and then everyone kind of opens up and eases up, and then it was like, okay, cool, this is a normal day, right?
Right.
But there was always these like butterflies.
Yeah.
And I still get that, man. Like I get that with other shit though. Like if you guys follow me on social media, I've been drawing lately, right? The past couple months I started drawing. I get nervous like that when I'm gonna start a drawing, kind of, right? And I was tripping out on that last night because I did one last night. Like, God, how weird is that? I feel nervous, like starting, like I sit there for like 10 minutes, like, where am I going to put this first fucking line?
Yeah.
Kind of the same deal. You know what I mean? Like it's the unexpected, the unknown. It's this fear of the unknown. I think that's the same for anyone in any line, no matter what the fuck you're starting, man. It's that fear. That's why you'll always hear me say, man, everything you want is on the other side of fear, right? You got to get past that little bit of fear for anything new, right? But once you do, it's like this whole new world opens up. So,
right.
What the reason I bring that up is like now when I get a day at a place like that, it's a completely different feeling. I almost get this feeling like I've been through all this that you guys are going through, and I've reached the mountaintop. I'm there, and I got a bunch of shit to tell you if you guys are interested in hearing it. You know what I mean? That's kind of the feeling I get. Like, all right, I got 10 years on all you dudes. You know what I mean? Like, gather around. You guys want to hear some shit? You know?
Yeah. And I did this shit in this station.
Exactly. And it's funny because with the social media and stuff like that, especially with LA City, guys typically have like seen the 63 page or something like that, or if I know them or just knew them around, follow on social media or follow the podcast. Some guys listen to the podcast already and stuff like that. So it's different. It's just like a full different vibe when I go to work at a place like that.
Yeah.
I also go just to get a taste of it again. That
smell some smoke.
Yeah, that energy too, just like the youngness, youth, all that stuff. It feels good to be around that energy too, And I love it, dude. Yeah. I fucking love picking up days there, and I love my days there until, like 2:00 in the morning when they won't stop fucking calling and you're tired. My body aches at night now. I'm really used to fucking sleeping a little bit more these days, right?
Yeah.
That's when I start reminding myself, oh, this is why I don't work here
Age
anymore.
Kicks in,
But overall, I love working at busier stations like that, right? It's
once in a while.
It's a good experience once in a while,
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it to a younger firefighter that's just getting on the job.
Absolutely.
You have to go to places like that and learn your job. It's the repetition. Everyone bags on, or not everyone, but like there's shit talking around like, oh yeah, 6633s, they get fires, but it's all fucking chicken coops and, garages and shit. Well, you're still pulling hose. You're still pulling a line.
You're still cutting.
You're still feeling the heat. You're still cutting. You're still doing all that shit. That's why they are such good firefighters when it comes time to get on a big ass house, cut on a second story roof, these apartment buildings, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's why they're so good. It's the repetition, right?
And like you were saying before too, it's good to spend time in different areas where you can pick up different specialties.
Oh yeah.
Like how Dad did before, being in downtown, being in the hood, being in the West Side.
If you want to be a well-rounded firefighter, if you're looking to be a captain or a chief one day, sure, man. Take your time. Take your 2 years in South Central, get those fires. Take your 2 years in the valley somewhere. Take your 2 years in the hills and get brush fires in some of those hillside homes. Take 2 years down in the harbor, and see what it's like down there. Take a tour of the city and see what's up. You know what I mean?
Build your bag of tricks.
So anyways, I worked a day down at 6-6, and the dude I was working with, we ran a couple calls, and shout out to Khalil. He goes, dude, what's your secret, man? Why are you so mellow? You're so like, it seems like nothing gets to you, right? I go, it's funny you say that, man.
Yeah.
So I thought about it a little bit. We had a whole conversation about it. But I think that one of the reasons that I am so mellow, number one is just the experience, right? But part of that experience is actually experiencing these calls. I can honestly say with a high level of certainty that you can throw any kind of call at me right now without me even seeing or knowing what it is. Just walk into a place, what's going on? And I'll either have had experience with it already, or I know something about it through my 18 years of experience on the fire department.
Yeah.
There is nothing, pretty fucking sure, man, there's nothing that's going to surprise me when I get on scene.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's part of the reason why I'm so calm and cool and collected on scene.
Also, at this point, you have probably done like 10,000 runs.
Oh yeah,
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I haven't done the math, but
if you think about it, you're in you're in that range of like the 10,000 hours to master.
Oh yeah, dude.
And
I used to work a shit ton of overtime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're probably past that, dude.
Yeah. So full circle, you know, all of that comes with experience, and so that's where these calls come in. So I think the first call we'll talk about is the first baby I delivered.
20 minutes in, that YouTube guy's all mad.
No,
this
he's so
is
pissed.
Bullshit.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right. The first baby I ever delivered. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Change the way when I see that it's an OB call and there's an imminent delivery, right? Which is a lot of times you'll get that. They're crowning or whatever. She feels like the baby is like coming out. It'll say imminent delivery on it. Okay.
Yep.
I was on engine 9. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the engine. We got an OB call, imminent delivery at in 9's district. There are these, they're like old motels that have been changed to SROs, which are single resident occupancies, right? For the homeless there. Each room has just like one room and like a sink, you know, and the floor has a bathroom that everybody shares and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and they usually have like a common room somewhere in the hotel or on each floor, which has a TV and like sofas and stuff like that. Okay. So we get this call for an OB imminent delivery on the 4th floor of this SRO down the street from the station.
Okay.
We get there, jump out, right? And typically when you run a call, back then we didn't even have like a policy where we had to wear eye protection, right? So it was just fucking gloves, right? And then we didn't have long sleeve shirts at the time. We didn't have a tattoo policy or anything. So short sleeve, badge shirt, right? My regular work uniform.
Oh God, you're setting this up for something, dude.
And gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. So we grab all our stuff. We hike up the stairs to the 4th floor. We didn't get a unit number, so you know, and we asked for that, and they're like, they just said it's on the 4th floor in the common room. Okay, so we go to the common room. All right, we walk into this room. It's like a rumpus room.
Okay.
For the floor, right?
Yeah.
There's 20 people in there probably. Okay, chilling like it's like the kick it room. The TV's on. There's a couple dudes playing pool at the pool table. There's
you don't
like
see a berth.
3 or 4 sofas going on, right? I'm like, what's going on? Like it's bustling, like a kickback or something in high school, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Hey, did somebody call? And as I'm saying that, I turn and look, and on the sofa to the left, there is a butt naked crackhead, for lack of a better word, chick on the couch, and there's 2 other dudes just like chilling, watching TV
on
naked.
the couch.
She's on the couch, with her feet up on the thing, right?
What are these guys like, watching on the TV?
Dude, so I get there, and she's, you know, I hate saying it. I hate saying crackhead to describe her, but like, I don't know what else to say, man. She's super, super skinny. You know, her hair's all ratty. She's dirty.
Yeah, we'll fix that in post.
Yeah. Her lips are all cracked, and she looks run down. She doesn't look healthy, but she's having a baby, man. Huge distended abdomen, obviously, right?
Yeah.
There's blood.
Kayla, show that picture.
Yeah, right. There's a bloody show already on the couch, and so we come walking up. The rescue's not there yet. It's just the engine company, right? So I'm a medic, but I wasn't operating as a medic. I didn't have any of my medic gear. But
oh yeah, you said you were on the engine.
Yeah, I was on the engine.
Oh God.
But you know, childbirth is a BLS skill technically,
you
right?
gotta jump in. Yeah.
We had an OB kit there, so I'm like, oh shit, you know, okay, ma'am, sit down. I tell these guys, hey, can you guys move, please? You know, like get the hell out of the way. So these guys finally get up, and she lays down. So I tell the girl, you know, I got to look. I got to see if the baby's coming or not. So she lays back on the thing. The whole time she's right.
And you had to tell those guys to move.
Yes. Okay. This is what I'm talking about with 9s and Skid Row.
Oh my God.
So she lays down. I open her legs, take a look, and there's the baby's head. It's fucking crowning, right? As soon as I see that, and I put my hand down there, right? And I turn to the rescue is walking in the door now, right? My buddy Danny Goot was on the rescue. I'll never forget that. As soon as I turn to say something to him, boop, the whole head pops out. Okay.
Oh, no.
So now I'm supporting this head, right?
Wait, what do you have laid out?
Fucking nothing.
Nothing. There's not even a towel?
No, I just intended to look and see if the baby was crowning. Okay. This all happens within 3 seconds. Okay. She opens her legs. I look, oh shit, it's crowning. Here comes the rescue. Hey guys, she's crowning. And before I could get the word crowning out,
No.
the whole head pops out. So now I'm supporting this head. Mind you, I've never delivered a baby before. Okay. Obviously, I learn about it in
You did one in clinic, right?
No.
You didn't have a baby in clinic?
No, man. We didn't do any of that. We didn't go up to OR for intubations. We didn't do none of that in clinic time. It was just whatever you got in the fucking ER, you got. You know? I happened to get a couple intubations, but I never had a childbirth.
Yeah.
So, boop, here goes his head, right? I'm supporting the head. Oh, shit. Give me the little plunger. What am I?
Yeah, the syringe thing.
Yeah, the syringe.
Bulb
syringe.
Yeah.
Boom, suction the mouth, suction the nose, right? Real quick, get all that. She had some meconium on her face and shit like that, right? I turned to ask for a towel from Danny Goot.
Oh, God,
okay?
no, dude.
And,
no.
Dude, she must have pushed this entire baby slivers up my arm, okay?
No.
So I have her head in my elbow
you have a
here.
short sleeve shirt.
My short sleeve shirt on. My hands are clean. My entire forearm is covered with meconium stained amniotic fluid.
God.
Okay. And this baby now is squirming and starting to cry.
Yeah.
So I go, give me a towel.
Crying.
I go, give me a towel to Goot, right?
Oh my God.
Goot gets the towel and he starts wiping her belly, the mom's belly.
The mom.
So I go and
dude, you're lucky the baby didn't slip.
Dude, I'm holding the baby against my body. Yeah. Okay, I'm holding the slimy thing. I asked for a towel. He starts wiping the belly, and so I said loud, just like I'm saying now. I go, fuck her. Give me the towel. And then I went, oh shit, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean fuck you. So I get the towel. I wipe the baby a little bit. The guys get a sheet, God, and we wrap the baby in the OB kit has the silver sheet.
Those two dudes are still watching Dallas.
And so they're on the other side watching Dallas. Yeah, and wrap the baby up. Clamp and cut the cord and shit, and we get her into the gurney. It had to have had an elevator. So we get her on the gurney. Yeah. We wind up taking her down, and that's it. That was my first experience delivering a baby, man. Thank God the baby was healthy. Didn't have any complications. A lot of times, a lot of the babies that get delivered in the Skid Row area have, just like this mother was probably an addict, are delivered to mothers who are addicts, and they have a lot of problems when they're born. It would not be the last baby that I delivered.
Yeah.
On the streets there. I mean, I've delivered in bathroom stalls, toilet stalls, on the street, all kinds of shit. But what were you going to say?
So rescue took the baby from there. Basically, you didn't go through with the car and do the whole thing.
No. The rescue actually. So when there's no issues with the baby, we keep the baby with the mother. Obviously, we have two patients. Yeah. So we do two. I think we're still doing 902s. We're still writing them out on paper.
Right.
But you like to have the baby skin to skin with mom and all that stuff. It helps with mom's expulsion of the placenta and all that stuff. So they took the baby.
Which also wound up on your arm.
I would have to imagine that we drove them to the hospital. They probably had both medics in the back, but I had to go back to the station and clean up after that one, man. But that OB kit comes with a gown in it too, man. Yeah. So anytime I have a imminent delivery, you better believe that gown is getting put on, dude. And my gloves are getting put on over my gown. Is the first and last time I'm gonna have a slippery baby slide up my arm.
While you're not looking, though, that's the funniest part. Dude. Hey,
I am pretty sure I gagged a little bit, dude. Pretty sure I hit a low, when it happened.
Is that? I'm assuming it's the first. Is that the only time where you said, fuck the patient?
No, that is officially the only time I've ever said that. But I said it loud and forcefully. And I did apologize to her right after that happened. But it was like, you guys listen to the podcast. You hear how much I cursed. But yeah, that's one thing I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean.
My apologies, madam. Lovely baby. Congratulations.
Okay. So that's story number one. That kind of set the table for every other childbirth that I've had on the job, and there have been 17 since then. So I've delivered 18 total babies in an 18-year career, which is actually pretty good.
Never forget your first.
Pretty damn babies. Yeah, you never forget your first.
Yeah. All right, we're halfway in.
All right. Story number 2.
Let's rock.
Suicides. Okay, suicides. Obviously, there's multitude of ways that people take their own lives. Okay. One that always kind of bothers me is people that shoot themselves. And this will be pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody shoots themselves, right? Typically, a lot of times they'll call 911 beforehand.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to come to this place. I'm suicidal, or you're going to find a dead body here, or whatever they say, right? They write a note, leave it, boom, off themselves with the gun. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then we show up, or, family hears a gunshot, go in, sees them dead or whatever. Right. Just because you shot yourself in the head does not mean that your brain is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that there aren't still connections to your fingers and your hands, and you just didn't, fuck up the circuitry up there, and maybe you're short-circuiting. I mean, I've shown up on scene people that have shot themselves, and there's still little things happening with their body, little twitches, or maybe one guy, his finger kept moving like this, and you're looking, there's no organized rhythm or anything like that, but there's still possible connections there that are doing shit. Okay, so with me, when I walk in and I see somebody laying there, and they're obviously shot themselves in the head, there's blood and brain matter places, but they still got that gun in their hand and the fingers on the trigger. To me, it's one of the scariest things to me, because what's to say that fool isn't gonna tweak or you know what I mean, have like a seizure or posture for some reason after we're there and pop off another shot, right?
Yep.
Quick story, one that always stuck with me. We got called for a suicidal ideations, right? We get there in an affluent area of Los Angeles. It's a house. We get there, husband answers the door. My wife has been depressed for years. She's been talking about killing herself for the past 2 days. Today, she is completely detached. She's telling us this at the front door, right? Like explaining what's going on. As we're standing there, pop! We hear a gunshot. Oh my God. And so there was hesitation, obviously. You hear a gunshot. Typically, we don't run into situations where there's gunfire, right?
Yeah.
If there's a gun involved, typically PD is there. And I'll be the first to say, I don't want anything to do with the gun, man. You guys get paid to take those risks. Have at it, man.
At this point, they're not there.
Let me know when it's clear. No, it's just me and my partner on the rescue. It's rescue only.
Rescue only.
Yeah, because it's a suicidal ideation. They probably didn't even have a medical complaint. You know what I mean?
I think it'd just be a ride to the ER.
Yeah, right at the ER. Now we have the ability to take them to
a
psych facility and stuff. But back then it was just like, all right, let's go, man. If you're having trouble, take it to the ER, and the ER would get the ball rolling with psych eval. Pop! We hear the pop upstairs. Shit, husband freaks out, goes running up. So we follow up. And this lady had gotten inside her shower, laid out a bunch of towels, and shot herself right through her mouth, top of her head. But I already told you my fear with these situations, right? Okay, it doesn't get any more fresh than that, right? If something like that was
heard the gunshot yourself. Yeah.
If something like that was going to happen, this is
where it's happening.
Where it's going to happen.
And you're there.
Huge handgun in her hand. She's slumped. She's sitting in it's like a seat that they had in their shower. Mm-hmm. She's sitting on there. Blood splatter on the back of the wall there. You can see, everything dripping. She's obviously shot herself through her mouth, top of her head. But she still looked alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so here I am approaching.
The gun.
It's a glass door that's closed. She's got the gun on her lap here. It's kind of pointing at the door where I would be opening to check if I could fucking help her.
And you were going?
What's that?
And you were going?
What am I going to do? I have nobody else there except my partner. The husband is freaking out. I mean, part of the thing is you have a duty to act, number one, but there's also like perception, like I'm the help.
There is, yeah.
I'm the person you're calling to help. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand there and go, I'm not touching her. You know what I mean?
I get you, but also the first thing they teach you, scene safety.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But here I am.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
going
there.
through all
This
this.
is it, yeah.
Going through all this at once. Hey guys, can we put the air on? Is that cool? I don't think it picks it up. It hasn't, at least. So I stood there at least 15, 20 seconds, man. Running through all those things in my head, because I got to go. It's not like I could just like sneak up and grab the gun and pull it out.
How to approach.
I got to open the door to this shower and get in order to even just grab the stupid gun, right? With it pointing right at me with this brand new, freshly shot through the head body that I don't even know if she's dead or alive or whatever.
Yeah.
Another reason why I felt like I had to get in there, because I mean, you can have somebody shot through the head, man, that's still alive, that's viable, that you can save. And if somebody can be saved, we have an obligation to try to save them, you know, regardless of what they've done or the situation they're in. So all that goes through my head before I, you know, just kind of like, oh my God, said a little prayer to myself and quietly opened the door and kind of angled myself and grabbed the gun and pulled it out of her hand and took it away. And then it's just a matter of, you know, checking vitals, you know, all the 814 stuff that you're allowed to call people on.
Right. But those moments leading up to getting the gun.
Terrifying, dude.
Have you heard of an incident where that's happened, where a guy's been shot by a
I haven't.
suicide after? Me neither.
No, I haven't. But
I don't want to be the first.
There's a first time for everything, bro. There's a first time for everything. So that always stuck with me. And I get that same fear every time I have a suicide by gun.
There's an interesting footnote on those, because they do survive. There are people who survive getting shot in the head. They wind up in the ICU. A lot of times they get declared brain dead after, and the family is told to, you know, gives them, they call it it's like a prognosis discussion, life goals, or, you know, life plan.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you know. And the doctors will tell them, you know, there's no signs of life. This person's brain dead.
Yeah.
You know, this is the end of the line. A lot of times those families don't accept that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, man.
So they want to
call
and they try to get the patient transferred to another hospital and get a second opinion on this. And sometimes the nurses in charge of that get frustrated with being asked. They just give them our number. So we'll get called from relatives of people who shot themselves in the head and have already been told this is it. You know, there's nothing else. And then they're trying to basically get us to take them to come to USC.
Yeah.
So like you wind up getting like guilted and blamed for not helping somebody who shot themselves in the head by their family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
Hey,
there's a lot of emotion that goes along with it, man.
Yeah. And it's like I understand, but it's like a unique place to be in, where it's like, hold on, this was your brother, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man.
Like, I'm not going to feel guilty about this now.
Well, it's just another thing to think about if you know,
it's just a unique
if you are
situation.
depressed and you're thinking of doing something like that, you know, it's one of the things to add to your thoughts. Hopefully, is what family you're leaving
what
behind,
are you
what are you
leaving
gonna do
behind
to your family?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Sudden death is I've talked about it on here before, man.
Oh,
It's one of the craziest things to watch. You know, sorrow. People go through actual like deep seated sorrow from a sudden loss like that. It's the most difficult thing that's stuck in my mind over the years.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk briefly, since we're talking suicides, about people jumping off of buildings. Okay, being in downtown LA, Fire Station 9, it happens not all the time, but it happens fairly often.
It does.
We got, I don't know, I had maybe 4 or 5 in my 3+ years that I spent at Nines. The first one always sticks in my head. It was a guy that jumped off of, it was probably a 24-story building. Okay. Onto the corner. A pretty busy intersection of downtown LA. Jumped off the building, must have launched himself a little bit because he landed not quite in the center of the intersection, but off of the sidewalk a bit. I mean, I don't know if he got a running start or what, but if you've never seen anybody jump from that height and land on concrete, it is a sight to see, man. Let me tell you. You essentially, I mean, you've seen like people do like throw watermelons off a building or something.
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
that.
say, is this soup or
It's
what?
essentially the same thing, man.
Yeah.
That head hits the concrete, and that thing is not forgiving, and it just pops. It pops. And so when you get on scene of something like that, this guy jumped out. Obviously, there's people on the sidewalk. Holy shit! There's a dead body in the middle of the road.
Content warning.
But brain matter all over the intersection. And that is something that you can't really prepare yourself for, especially when you're like pulling up on scene.
What time of day does this?
Middle of the day, dude.
Yeah.
Middle of the day. Yeah. You pull on scene and you're thinking when anytime you typically pull on scene, you're thinking like, where am I going to spot my rig? You want to spot and angle out so you're protecting your guys at the back of the rig, all that stuff. You're thinking spotting and what does an incident call for? I remember thinking that as I was pulling up, and then my partner going, "Oh shit, look out!" and hitting the brakes, and there was brain matter in the intersection right there where I was about to pull through and pull around the corner, and so it was like, "Oh shit!" So angled the rig to completely block, the intersection, and got out just to assess what the hell's going on. By this time, the engine's showing up, and you got
to tell them to. Whoa,
pretty much, yeah, man. That happens a lot on the freeway too, man. You'll get people like walking on the freeway, and you'll get a call for like an auto ped on the freeway. Typically, when you're approaching those things, you really have to approach it slowly and make sure that you're not running over a body, running over an arm, a head, something like that. That happens all the time, dude. All the time.
Have you had guys jump off the bridge too, like 4th Street Bridge or something? Or
I haven't. It has happened, obviously. And then the issue with that is they jump off the bridge and then they get hit by 2 or 3 cars. So you get a scene that's maybe, a quarter mile long because the guy got dragged this far, whatever. And CHP has to shut everything down. And even if you're pulling up and you get canceled because the guy's, it's obviously one of the reasons why we can cancel or determine someone dead in the field. Even when you get canceled, you got to, you're driving through, you got to be very, very aware of what's on the street, what's on the road. So you're not driving on, not only because you're going to mess up the scene, but, you're driving a vehicle. It's like driving through paint if you do. You know what I mean? You're going to have to go back to the station and clean it off. It's a whole like biohazard issue if you run over something like that too. Over and above, just the like emotional toll of knowing that you ran somebody over or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that always stuck with me, that first high altitude, suicidal man that jumped. And, I'll never forget that scene, man. Literally this major intersection, I would say 80% covered with this dude's brain matter and other bodily fluids that came out when he hit the concrete.
When you drive back by that intersection, you always think about it?
Always, dude. Every single time.
That's like one of those times. Like that's on your map of shit. In your head.
I have those all over the city, dude.
I know.
Sadly, one of the other like major like suicidal spots that I saw a number of suicides was in 61's district. There's those towers that are kind of near like the Grove right there, right?
Yeah,
right across
like Park La Brea.
Park La Brea.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many old people jump off those buildings.
I believe it, dude.
Those things are filled with
patients,
elderly people, and they decide it's been enough, man, and they jump off those buildings at a crazy rate.
What a way to go.
Yeah. So suicides, man, those always kind of stick with you.
Yeah.
How much time we got?
About 15, 20.
Okay. I'm going to end with the call that put me off duty.
Let's do it.
Out of all these things that I'm talking about, folks, the most difficult thing to deal with and see as a paramedic is sick or dying or injured kids. Okay.
100%.
For a number of reasons. There's not a lot we can do with kids in the field. Typically, a lot of times, if it's a medical issue, it's hard to even determine what the fuck is going on. Oh, my kid's altered and he's just like lethargic and limp, and you're trying to figure out, well, what happened? Did he eat something? Is there rat poison around? Is there You're trying to be a detective and figure out what the fuck happened to this kid, right? A lot of times kids compensate so well too. When something's wrong, their bodies are so able to compensate so well that they compensate until they can't anymore, and then they just fucking die. But we're also limited. Like there's a size requirement to intubate. When you're given medications, there's all these different calculations and doses that you have to account for.
IVs
kids
are different.
Their weight is important for, IVs are super difficult to get because they're tiny ass veins. If they're still conscious, they're moving around. They don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, immobilizing them, everything.
Super difficult. Okay. So just kind of set the mood for this call, because at this point I had, I don't know, 6-7 years on the job, something like that, 6 years. And I had seen a lot. I'd been at 57s for maybe a year and a half or so, or a couple years. I had been around, man. I'd been around the block a few times. I'd seen a few things. I dealt with a couple, bad kid calls too. So it wasn't something, when it came up on the MDC on our little computer on the rig, it wasn't something that like I immediately thought like, oh shit, this is gonna suck. More so than any other kid, that I see we're running on. So anyways, I'm on the engine. I'm the medic on the engine. This is a paramedic assessment engine,
right?
Engine 57. And we were already on the air. So we're on the radio driving around the district. I don't remember if we were leaving another call or whatever. And we get attached to this incident for a 2-year-old male traumatic arrest. Okay. Bink. Obviously you see that on the MDC. Everybody, the engineer hits the gas a little harder. Everybody gets worked up a little bit. Now, at the time, my son, Max, was 2 years old. We get on scene, jump out of the engine, run to the back compartment where we keep our medical gear. I grab the box, and this man is waiting for us on the sidewalk. And I could see, it's a good gauge of how crazy the call is going to be by how worked up and excited someone is waiting for you at the curb, right? A lot of times you'll be coming down turn the corner onto the street, and there'll be someone waving in the middle of the street, right? Frantically. This guy looked like he was terrified. Okay. So and I already know it's a kid, traumatic arrest. And so I grab the box, and me and him run into this apartment. Okay. Walk through the door, and as you walk through the door, there's a small corridor before you got to the living room, and the living room was kind of like around this wall that was here. I don't even know what was on the other side of the wall, but so we walk in. I can hear Mom, not crying, man, bawling, guttural bawling. Okay, before I even walked in the door. I mean, from the driveway up the side of the apartment building. Walk in, and as I'm walking down the corridor, there's 2 other little kids, one in diapers and one that looked like he was about 2 years old, standing there, and they are crying, staring at whatever's on the other side of this wall that I can't see yet. And I'm the only one that ran up. You know what I mean? So I'm just me and this guy. And I walk in, I turn the corner, and I see a mom, a young mother, and she's straddling her son. And she's doing CPR on him, bawling. Oh my God. And I look at this kid, man, and there's a pool of blood around him. His eyeball was out of his socket. It was hanging off the side of his head. He just looked like he had gotten run over by a car or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he just looked completely mangled in this living room. Cartoons on the TV. TV was on the ground, but cartoons on there. What happened? You have to
ask what happened.
What happened? So in broken English, half Spanish, me half understanding what she's saying. Essentially what happened was the TV that was on the ground was this old tube television, this massive, I don't know how big it was, but it was a fucking big TV, but it was a tube TV, an old big one. If you guys remember those, they're huge and they're heavy as fuck, right? Well, that TV was on top of this like TV stand that it was probably too big for. And there was something on top of the television that the kid was trying to climb up on the stand to get. When he climbs up to the front of the TV and is reaching for it, the whole TV tipped over and it essentially squished him like a bug.
Right.
Like I said, I've been on a number of kids, man. I've been on a number of traumas. I know what I can save and what I can't, Yeah. And just looking at this kid, I knew there was nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. And when you're talking about traumas in general, man, there's there's a golden hour that they talk about with trauma patients, because with traumas, medicine ain't going to help them. They got to get on an operating table. And typically, they got to get on that operating table within an hour of the trauma happening for them to have any chance of survival.
Right.
Studies have shown. So already with kids being limited what we can do in the field, I typically run in, grab them, get them in the rig, and take off, right? Did that with this kid. Obviously, I saw him, got a brief rundown on what happened, took a look at him and said, let's go. And I scooped him up in my arms, and I ran out the apartment with him. As I was doing that, the rescue was coming up with the gurney. I met him at the sidewalk.
Put him
I
in.
laid the kid on the gurney. I said, let's fucking go. We threw him in the rig and started heading. I jumped in the back of the rig with them. And we're doing CPR on the kid. And I kept seeing Max, in this little kid's face, little Latino boy.
Yeah.
And, blood all over the place. I had the issue and stuff like that, but he was still alive. He was still agonal respiration. So he was. I couldn't intubate him.
You can't do anything to him.
We
except CPR.
Well, we got the BVM out. We got a mask, but like every time he did a compression, his mouth and oropharynx would fill with blood.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to force a respiration, and with the BVM, it's filled with blood.
Yeah.
You're not
making
getting
bubbles.
anything in it, right?
Yeah.
So you're back there as a medic with all this training, this kid that looks like your kid.
Yeah.
With this thing that happened that could have fucking happened to anyone.
Right.
And I got all this medicine. I got all this fucking gear. I got all this shit at the tip of my fingers, man. And I can't fucking do anything for this kid. I can't do anything. I had to just sit there and watch this poor little baby slowly die in front of me, man. It to this day is like the craziest shit that I ever watched, And then I started thinking about, because that's the main thing about these things. I talked about my poem, The Black Hole. You see these things, right? There are these snapshots that are just fucking locked into your brain now, right? But that's not it. Like, if that was just it, cool, man. I could probably deal with that. I could probably store those away and just fucking forget about them, hopefully, over time. But I almost immediately started thinking about mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was at work.
Yeah.
3 kids. Mom was in the other room folding clothes. Here's a crash. Comes out.
Yeah.
Your baby is dead. Like that.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do. And your last image of him is struggling for his life, right?
Yeah.
Then I start thinking about dad. Dad's at work. You get a phone call. Come home. Something happened. What happened? Oh, your firstborn baby is gone. Yeah. There's nothing you can do. You can't say goodbye. There's nothing you can do. Like, I think thinking about those things, man, thinking about how it would feel as a parent, it almost immediately took hold of me. Immediately. Like, on the drive there, I was tearing up. Come on, baby. Come on, man. Come on. Fuck. Drive faster,
Yeah.
Then at the same time, like, Harbor UCLA is a trauma center.
Yeah.
Right? But when you have a traumatic full arrest, you got to take that to the closest, right? So then that was another toss. Do we go to Centinela? That's the closest, and seal his fucking fate? Or do we drive another 24 minutes to Harbor UCLA and maybe give him a chance? Policy says I got to go to the closest. He's a traumatic full arrest, right? Knowing that this child wasn't going to make it, kind of sealed the deal with that. But we took him to Sentinel. I already knew he wasn't going to make it. We get there, and as soon as we got there, I lost it, dude. So we wind up getting back on the engine. We come back to 57s, and my captain that day, as much as I fucking hate that guy, if you know me, you know who I'm talking about. He was actually really great that day with that incident, man. he got us all back to the station and contacted Dr. Scott, who was a department psychologist, and he actually came down with another psychologist, and we had a critical incident stress debriefing afterwards.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was going through a lot, and I was actually like I was dealing with a lot back then, and I had some insomnia. I had a lot of issues going on that were work related from some of the stuff we were seeing. I didn't realize, in this call actually brought it all to a
boiling point.
And I was able to tell him everything that I was going through, and he kind of looked at me and said, "All right, look, dude, we're gonna put you off duty. We got a code. Just go home. Do not worry about this place, and we'll set you up with a doctor to go see and all that stuff." So I went home. 30 days I was off duty. Really just kind of like resetting, and was able to speak to a psychologist about everything that was going on. It's actually what triggered me getting diagnosed with PTSD. I'll never ever forget. I mean, it's still to this day, and I've had crazy calls, man. I mean, we could do another 2 hours full of fucking crazy calls that I've had, but
yeah,
nothing will ever top the emotional toll that particular call gave me or took on me, simply because of all those things that happened. The fact that the kid looked like Max, the fact that I started immediately thinking about mom, about dad, about the other two kids.
Yeah.
That might define their entire childhood, watching their brother die that way.
Thing too,
go ahead.
It feels like, like you can question, like, damn, why was I even there? Like I just had to be witness to the worst moment in these people's lives, and that's part of like your job also. But then you got to think too, like it could have made a difference, your presence there in taking their kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like somebody else could have come in and just like freaked out or not picked him up and transported or tried to call him there or something like that. You know what I mean? You gave them at least, there was a transition, there was a moment, there was, maybe a little bit of hope. It
brings me full circle back to 2 days ago at 6-6 with Khalil asking me, why are you so mellow, dude?
Yeah.
I have since this incident, obviously, and over the past few years, I've made a lot of changes in my personal life and the type of person that I am. And the Danny Gonzalez that you guys hear on this podcast or that you meet out in the world is a much different entity than I was when this call happened. Okay.
Right.
I almost feel like with everything that's going on with the podcast blossoming and the fact that our viewership and people that listen are, for the most part, younger people that are interested in this career and interested in the fire service and stuff like that. And along with the fact, if you guys follow me on Instagram, go look at my Instagram story, the bearded guy talking about the fourth dimension, right? Like my views on the world and like our existence as humans and stuff like that have evolved over the years. And I almost feel like that was an important part of me becoming the whole person that I am today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like having that experience helped to shape the calm, decisive presence that I am on scene of an incident or for these younger paramedics and firemen that I work with. Obviously, I'm nothing special. You know what I mean? Like I still get worked up. I still get angry at shit, obviously.
Right.
But like I said before, there isn't an incident that I'm going to get dispatched to that I don't have some sort of experience with.
You literally had a baby fall into your hand, dude.
Yeah, man. And that's what helps me to deal with all this stuff that I've seen over my career now, is I feel like there was a reason for it. There's a purpose for it now. I could see that now. Yeah. Now I'm showing up to a 6'6" or a 5'7" or 6'4" or something like that. And if these guys are interested in hearing something or asking me something or just take a little bit of my calmness on scene, my empathy toward people and patience, if they just take a little piece of that within themselves from a 24-hour shift that they worked for me, then I can see why that was important to me being the full self that I am right now.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
And you're adding that to their bag of tricks the same way, learning how to make a new cut, how to open up this kind of lock. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man.
Anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being a firefighter, paramedic these days is about being a well-rounded paramedic and firefighter. It's about, and especially now, dude, like you don't know, man, like back in the day, I mean, it was like a completely different world with how people treated patients and shit like that.
You could be a shithead.
You could be a complete shithead to people, and there was really no recourse. Or if somebody complained, it would get like swept under a rug and shit, you know? So I think with the world being the way it is right now, and in the transformative state that it is right now, it's good to have empathy. It's good to have a big heart in this career. And it sounds stupid saying that. It's like, duh, you should have a big heart if you're a paramedic. Duh, you should have a big heart if you're a fucking fireman. It ain't fucking like that, man.
And a lot of people will kind of build like a wall around that as a defense and protection for their own emotional state. Because if your heart's too big and you're seeing terrible shit all the time, that will affect you a lot more deeply. And you get jaded, man. Yes. You get jaded. You go to 50 kids hit by a car, it might just wind up being another kid hit by a car to some people, you know what I mean? And it's a defense mechanism for people. It is. Know what I mean? So we're running out of time here. I highly recommend guys and gals out there, if you are interested in coming to this profession, make therapy just a normal part of your life. Yeah. Even if it's listening to us. It's good. It's good. Just in general for your life, man, to talk about your worries and troubles and stuff in your life, just to verbalize and get them out and have somebody professional who does this shit. Just sometimes just talking about it and getting it out is good. But especially if you're in a field, a medical field or something where you stress is part of your life, you're exposed to things that most people aren't, stuff like that. I highly recommend being prophylactic about your mental health. Okay. Absolutely. Take time for your mental health, dude. You guys work out. Keep your body fit for in case you get, a structure fire or something like that. Concentrate on your mental health as well. Give it that same energy, whether it's meditation, therapy, whether if listening to us is therapy for you, talking to a family member. I remember growing up, like dad always saying, I don't want to talk to mom. I don't want to bring that home or put it on her. But I have Bernie at home. You know what I mean? She's in the field too. Like, and she was an explorer. Like talking about, not only does it help me to get it out, but it helps her to understand where I'm coming from. If I, right. She walks in the room and I have tears in my eyes for some reason because I'm thinking about, some kid that I couldn't save 8 years ago. How do I explain that to you? You know what I mean? Yeah. Then that's happened before too. Sorry. Anyways, pay attention to your mental health, guys. It's important. Like I said, maybe we'll do another one of these down the road because I have another. We can make this a two-parter. Another few hours of stories like this, but yeah, that's all I got, dude. Well. Thank you for sharing. All right. Danny's Story Corner. It was emotional. It was touching. It was funny at times. Yeah, man. Where can they find you, senor? Danny Gonzo 34 at Danny Gonzo 34 on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 Humor, like benign tumor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the show at PRC Pod on Instagram and Twitter, or at PRC Podcast on the ever-growing new app TikTok. You can also email us, contact PRCpod@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back again next week. See ya. Shout out to Power Solar.